So how do you feel about Bitcoin today? Me, myself, I really can't tell you, man. Sentiment is mixed. Everybody's sort of in a wait and see moment for the market right now. And I think that's the proper place to be if in fact you are trading. If you are in long positions, I would say be very tentative on future market movements going into the next couple of days, Thursday and Friday, because we know that these can be volatile days. Also, if you're in a short position or getting into a short position, you may just be a little bit early. We're going to talk about a few levels here that we're watching on the upside that Bitcoin may try to break to before it sees more downwards action, if in fact this is a bull trap. Now, we did get sat still. I'm still not confirming that we're necessarily being trapped yet. There are some things that are pretty close to where we are sitting in price that we're going to take a look at today. But right now, the market's mixed. We did add another $1,000 profit to our trading account, even in this mixed environment. So we're going to talk about that. We'll take a look at futures and some real levels on Trading Light and maybe a few alts. And if you don't know who I am, it's your boy Maestro. Welcome to The Long and Short. Let's go. Guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. So, not going to be a long video today. We just want to touch on a couple of things. You can see here that price action was giving us a nice bullish push, sort of more towards the midday in New York, and now we're starting to get sat down a little bit. I have been trading some live funds along with, just playing around with this demo account. Things are very choppy right now, right? So the positions that we're in, we have to hold them for a little while until we actually see some movement in the market, but you're getting a lot of up and down activity, all right? So pretty much looking at this 15-minute chart for the past few days, price has kind of pushed up to this level and sort of just sat here. Right now, this isn't necessarily the most characteristic thing that you're going to see in a bull trap, which is why I'm interested in seeing where liquidity is going to be set here, right? We just see a lot of our levels just creating these imbalances, and then they're pretty much automatically getting filled, which is essentially what's going on in price action right now. If we zoom this in a little bit, right, and blow this up, you can see that there's a nice imbalance printed here, and then price is just kind of coming right back down to fill it. We're not pushing out one way or the other. But if we zoom this out a bit and take a look at the greater ranges, right, we can see some things developing. So just to take a quick look at what we've been doing, very spotty trading activity today, but we still managed to eke out around $1,000 from the market. So last update, we were around 28.8. And now we're at 29.8. All right, so things are still looking positive. We're not playing the market very aggressively right now. We're just kind of seeing what's happening, but we are scalping and sniping things wherever we can. All right, based on this little demo account that we have. Real live markets, though, if you're actually trading, it's a lot more difficult to pull off any real gains at any particular time, essentially because price is just swinging on you between these ranges, right? And it's kind of hard to judge at this point which way price is going to break out. So, for example, I was kind of in a short position right here, and price just kind of broke out of this level, right? But I was timing this just based on the relative levels that I was seeing in regards to highs. Now, again, sort of breaking my own rules, being anxious, trying to get into a trade. I should have waited for that liquidity to be ran because, as you can see, you have equal highs here. As soon as that's ran, price does come down. And actually, we did take a short up here, and we just exited that before we started the video because we wanted to kind of give you guys our fully undivided attention. All right, so we're taking some profits. We're losing some in real live money accounts. Same thing on these accounts here for the demo. And for the most part, guys, this is what you're going to experience if you are in live trading scenarios. All right, so let's kind of zoom out here, take this paper trading off so that we can get a better perspective of what's actually happening in the market, draw some levels out, okay? All right, let's take this down. Okay, so we did get a nice push up here, right? And now we do have in between these two red lines here, we have a big area of imbalance that I think price will eventually want to go back down to. But as you can see, price sort of angled up, set a low, came and set a lower low. And I'm not necessarily sure if this is the right structure that we're going to see for this movement lower. We may get a push higher, okay? Now we're going to go and look on the 1 hour chart to see where the higher areas are that we may push into, right? Because we're not that far away from 50K if you guys really think about it. Bitcoin can jump up to 50K in like a day, all right, or less. But if once we hit that level, that's what I'm really going to be seeing to see if we're just going to trickle back down here or if we're going to explode up and then come back down here, because I think that you could be in the mood for some explosive moves like that. All right. So In between these red lines here, big area of imbalance. Not too concerned about everything else that's going on down here. This is pretty much the current price structure that we're dealing with and that we're looking at. All right, if we kind of zoom in things here, we can see that all of the imbalances that are created are automatically filled for the most part. Big red one here, filled. Okay, let's just scroll down a little bit and blow this up so we can all take a look at this. And when the market is doing this, right, you're still kind of stuck in this pattern. There's no real direction on where you're going to break out. Right, so imbalance filled here. Two big imbalances sort of created here, automatically filled. Right, any large movements in price, it's getting retraced back through. All right, so when your price is in a range, you can kind of use these as indicators to say, okay, boom, nice big downwards movement. What's the next thing for price to do? Once it finds the bottom of these ranges, then you can start to think long. Okay, you may have to wait for a retest. Sometimes price just goes right for it. Okay, but eventually you're going to reach the points of the imbalance and then price may turn around. Okay, to stay within that range. Nice low point created here. Price came back up, took that imbalance out. All right, and you guys can see this all throughout the charts, right? Now, as long as we're in this range, there is no determining factor one way or the other in which way the market is going to break out. We did kind of call sort of a topping pattern and said, is this a bull trap in our last video? I don't think we've confirmed one way or the other whether or not this is a bull or a bear trap. What I really think would need to happen in order for us to be trapped as bulls, let's go to the daily chart to check this out. Okay, and zoom this down a bit. Now, when we go into our other chart where you see the scale in, scale out levels, we actually have this level drawn, but right here around 50,500, right? This is a pretty big area of imbalance that I think price may actually try to reach for to fill before it comes back down. Now, what does this do, right? This does kind of break us out into a bullish momentum because essentially all you're going to be doing is continuing this move up to about here and then coming down to retrace somewhere within this level, maybe a little bit lower, okay? That's a very bullish scenario. And I think that that is possible for Bitcoin, all right? And it would probably prove to stay true to this sort of larger macro pattern that we're seeing develop here. Sort of create a high, create a low, create a high, create a low, start creating a high, okay? Now, it may be a bumpy ride, right? You can see every time we have an extension, we have a retracement before we push to the all-time high. Same thing here. Extension, retracement, push to the all-time high, right? So where is our retracement going to come in, right? This area here is very similar to this area here. Just the only difference is we're more in a sideways range in this area, okay? Which is why it gives me a little bit more lean towards a hard down push before another reach for the all-time high, right? I just think the market is primed to do that to us in regards to institutional moves, right? And we can look at the Bitcoin futures to take a look at this as well. But for right now, guys, I think being patient and sort of letting price do what it do or do what it does, or however you want to say that, right? I think just being a little bit patient right now is going to prove to be beneficial for you. Don't chase the pumps. That's all I'm saying, guys. Do not chase the pumps. These pumps, you get one or two or three of them. By the third or fourth one, that's when they typically tend to turn things around for you just based on historical price movements. Let's go ahead and take a look at sentiment because there are a couple of stories here that we can also tell, right? The fear right now, greed index is showing 55. I think everyone's sitting pretty neutral when it comes down to it, guys. So, the same thing that we're seeing on the charts, I think the market is experiencing right now. People are pretty much understanding that you don't want to get too anxious in these times in the market, and that's a good sentiment to have, all right? Most of the feeling in regards to the market positions are actually short at this point, right? So I think people are pretty much on the same page that we were on when it comes to this stuff, all right? Now, let's take a look at futures because the story pretty much hasn't changed from what we were saying before. But now you see what I mean when it comes to stacking, right? You're seeing how these EMAs are starting to separate away from each other. And once they do, this is when your momentum is going to slow down a little bit, right? It's like a rubber band. It's going to pull the price back. So where are we currently sitting right now? Somewhere around 45,103. So if price were to kind of respect this 9 EMA, right, and kind of come down and bounce off of it, then that's a good bullish sign that we can see here, right? Now, the higher this EMA climbs, the less of a chance we have of that happening because I do think that we do have a CME futures gap that we will want to fill. Now, these futures gaps do not have to fill immediately, right? Based on the tone of the market, if we're starting to break out, you're going to get a lot of bullish activity. You're going to have people wanting to buy. So will we revisit this level relatively quickly? That's a good question to ask. And I want to see what the next few days are going to produce going into next week. Okay, because you can let these gaps sit here for 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? There's still CME futures gaps somewhere around the $20,000 level that we never came back to reclaim. But that was sort of pretty much right before a parabolic Bitcoin move. Will it happen again at the $40,000 levels? Much less of a chance of that, right? So eventually price may want to come back down here. We hope that it does it sooner than later. That's what you want to see if you really want to remain bullish, okay? Thing that's also pointing me in that bearish direction a bit is the larger speculators. Now, the thing that I wanted to mention in the previous video was that the retail do have the power to overwhelm larger speculators when it comes to crypto, okay? In the previous uprun that set the most recent all-time high, that was a retail push, okay? And then eventually the larger speculators came in and started to try to really hammer down the price. And it eventually got there, right? But what I'm saying is this: retail can push a market, all right? Especially the crypto market. It's less institutionalized as most people would think, right? We still have some power and some swing when it comes to moving a price, but it has to be a really big influx of money coming in, all right? So right now, while these larger speculators are hovering on this zero line, the commercials are pushing short, right? Smaller speculators are starting to push up. But essentially, the larger speculators are sitting still right now. They're not very much interested in one way of the market or the other. Now, if they push below it again, we're going to get bearish. And if they push above it again, then we're going to get a bit more bullish. Right now, the elder ray is showing us pretty much the same thing. You're having a nice little peak and then sort of a retracement back to these levels. Money is coming out of the market. Open interest still remains high. All right, so lots of things happening, guys, but I would say, there's not a lot of movement over the past couple of days that's going to make us very excited. Beware of Thursday and Friday. And even going into the weekend, things can get pretty crazy because we saw that, a lot of this movement came over the weekend, right? This big gap here is because we had a lot of weekend movement. All right, so crypto can move on the weekends too, guys. Do not sleep on that. All right, so Thursday, Friday, I'm thinking we may get some volatility here in the market to show us which way Bitcoin really wants to go. Taking a look at the total market cap here, let's scroll back out to the daily. As we said before, guys, this $1.876 trillion level is one that we think is a very psychological level for the market. Whenever price breaks above this level, it gives us a lot of insight into which direction we think price wants to go. Right, so we saw a couple of pulsations around it, and now it's starting to really break over this level, and now we're currently sitting at the $2 trillion mark. This is a healthy crypto market. We want to maintain this, right? So for all of the different things that are coming into the news that are bullish for crypto right now, it has retail coming in, right? And the thing that we want to be wary of is if this is a setup just for larger institutions to push the price down, take some money off the table, and then push it up again, just to kind of clear investors out, right? And they like to do this to traders as well, right? If you have a lot of people taking long positions, right, going long with leverage, they like to clear that field a bit, which is why you'll see really strong down movements and then a continuation up. And the same thing up to down. When the price is falling, right, people tend to load up on shorts, load up on leverage. They'll spike the price, take out those traders, then bring the price to where they actually want it to go. All right, so everything looks positive right now, guys, right? You're starting to see some levels get broken, and this is all good stuff when it comes down to the price action. All right, again, breaking into scale out zone. So hopefully you guys will take some profits around some of these levels. All right, you have some equal highs here, right? And you can see that based on our rules, right? You have an area of imbalance here, fair market value gap, and right above that, right in this little area here, you do have some areas of liquidity that price could spike into, sort of just take all of this out and then push lower to try to clear up some of that CME futures gap, right? That could be something that happens in price, right? And it looks very natural, guys, right? So let's just bring out a drawing tool so that we can give people sort of a perspective on what could happen. You could see a push up here, right? And just follow the dotted line across to that cursor. You'll see any push up into this area, you're grabbing liquidity. All right, you're taking out stops. You're bringing traders in long, okay? And also, you're filling an imbalance, okay? So price may do this, meander down a little bit, pow, hit this level, and then come back down to fill the CME futures gap, right? But it may not do it so fast. It may just kind of scroll up, scroll down. But this is sort of a classic pattern in price action, guys, that you'll see, and this is what we're looking for, So once it comes back down here, then you're expecting more bullish activity. April, May, June, typically fairly good months when it comes to Bitcoin, historically. All right, so we're hoping that continues, and everything looks good, guys. Scale in to scale out levels being represented, discount to premium zones being represented, and if you're playing the game by those rules, then you are in profit today. All right, and the same thing for ETH, scale in to scale out, discount to premium, right, guys? You see, I just stopped right at the top of our discount zone. We were able to buy right there, take some ETH home. Anything under $2,500 for ETH, it's a steal, guys. It's a steal. You see what Ethereum is going to be. You see what it's going to do. You see when you do have these very bullish movements in the market, Ethereum is going to take off. Also, Luna, look at this. Beautiful. Broke out the all-time high. We got to reset some levels, guys. Right? We said that this was going to happen. It's happening, right? It's going to take out that all-time high. And once it does, you want to watch for that retracement. Big imbalance here. All right. And not too much for price to go get on the downside. This is why this is nice price action. Now, if Luna were to go into sort of a bearish push, right? Say, for example, something happens, there's bad news or whatever. The lowest level I think that Luna could come back to is probably somewhere around 66, 67 bucks, right? 65 bucks. But this is beautiful price action, guys. We said that this had a mind of its own. It does. It pushed through an all-time high and broke it out. So congratulations to anyone holding that. All right. Also, you're looking at AVAX here. Looks very similar to ETH, right? But just a little bit less price action. And you're still swinging from discount to low premium zones. So this is one also that we think has a lot of good positive action that we want to capitalize on. Same thing when it comes to Atom. Let me scroll this out a little bit, make sure I know what I'm talking about. All right, there goes Atom, looking still fairly good, right? Everything is pushing up, guys. Everything is angling to the upside, right? And we're coming to areas here where we would think about taking some profits. And if you guys can see this, right, scaling levels, if you took them down here, if you were buying in this discount zone, you're hitting these scale out zones. First one hit here, second one hit here. All right, price is going to respect these levels. Why? Because it respected it and created these places for us to watch in price before. All right, and this is what it's doing. When it comes to Sandbox, also discount zone, not quite breaking out into the low premium zone, right? And I think Sandbox, somebody made a good point today on a couple of channels that I was watching in regards to, where is the attention going? So when you really break it down, guys, there's fundamental crypto, and then I think there's meme crypto. There's really two different sides to this entire investment thing that we're doing in this space. All right, the fundamentals are the things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? All of the major players, top 10 coins, things with real fundamental utility, real fundamental value that is being brought to the market, right? Those are sort of the core cryptos, I think. And then you have a lot of meme cryptos. And I think there's a lot of different things that fall into the meme crypto culture. Metaverse is one of them. NFTs is another, right? And just meme coins in general, it kind of encompasses all of that, right? NFT, gaming, all of that kind of stuff just kind of falls into the meme category when it comes to investing, which means that it's all about what's popular today. Shiba Inu lost a bunch of holders, right? Dogecoin has been in the rut, right? Seems like everybody's going into ApeCoin now. But what's going to be the trend next year, right? What's going to be the trend the following year? If you know how to read those trends, believe me, you can make tons of money in this market because all you're doing is forerunning all of the attention that everyone else is just going to switch their. People have short attention spans, apparently, right? So they're going to be on one thing for a month, 6 months, next thing, another 6 months. It's all about the trend. So if you're able to break into the trends and if you're able to sort of lead the trends, then gosh, you're making so much money in this space. It's ridiculous, man. So salute to those people. But that's what you want to watch when it comes to things like Metaverse, NFTs, any meme coins, anything that's related to popular culture, I would consider a meme coin. Bitcoin, one in its own, Ethereum, one in its own, right? A lot of these other coins are trying to get that name brand sort of Pepsi, Coke recognition. And that's what they're fighting for. That's what all of these other coins are fighting for. But again, these meme coins, they kind of just sit in the realm of their own. And when the attention goes away from them, then that's when they tend to suffer the most. All right. Chainlink looks to be breaking out, right, from a bargain to a discount zone. We think Chainlink definitely could break higher than 17 bucks. So these are still good scaling levels for us when we come to take a look at them. All right. XRP still sitting within this range, right? Within this scaling area here. but you had a nice little push up, retracement into it, and then a pop to kind of get it right back at that same level. This is being suppressed by the lawsuit. No other way to really look at it, guys, right? So once XRP kind of breaks out of this lawsuit business that it's got going on, I really think that this is going to stay above $1 or more, if in fact the lawsuit is successful for them. All right, Solana looks to be breaking out from a discount zone and a bunch of sort of accumulation right here in this zone. And again, these are the areas where we want to scale in, guys, right? Buying in here in these areas, you'll start to see that bullish activity. And when the crypto market runs, it's going to run seriously. And these are the levels that we're looking to break out to take profits, right? So if you were in these levels buying, I would still be patient for Solana because I think that there is still some positive movement that could come from this discount zone into a low premium for you to take some profit. All right, DOT, pretty much the same thing. Once we start to cut through a few of these coins, guys, it kind of shows the same characteristics on all of these charts, right? So watching Bitcoin, watching Ethereum, you'll see pretty much the tone of the rest of the market when it comes to the rest of the coins that we typically track, right? And you should do this for your own portfolio, right? We showed you guys how to build a portfolio, and we also showed you guys how to draw up all of these zones. If you're not aware of how to do this, go ahead and check the tutorials out that are popping above. You'll be able to kind of get a full scope of how we draw all of this stuff up on the market, how we even build a portfolio, build a watch list, things of that nature. Right, so these are all the things that we're watching. You may be watching different things, but look for characteristics in price action that mimic across different cryptos, right? Because then you'll start to be able to build correlations, and you'll actually be able to pick out certain cryptos that lead the pack for other things. Oh, there's one more thing that we wanted to take a look at, which is trading line. All right, so let's go into this one time to see where some of these greater levels are. Let's go to the daily chart. All right, kind of zoom in a little bit here. All right, so having a bit of a bearish day, okay? So was this a bear trap? Maybe, maybe not, right? You may get a down push and another push up higher, but notice where your real levels are being set. And actually, let's go to the 1 hour because on the 1 hour, you can see this a lot. All right, so over the past couple hours, price kind of hit a peak, came down, but we're staying right within this range, guys. Like we can probably literally just bounce off the bottom of this, start to try to see higher prices. But you do have a level right here at 48, which is what we were saying we were watching before. You see it peak twice into it, couldn't break through it, okay? Now you're starting to get pushed down from this level a bit. So that's a bit concerning. There is a floor here developing around 46 and another one here around 45. And at the top side, you're really looking at, let's say 48.4, but the real level is 50,000, okay? Around 264 plus Bitcoin worth of orders there, and around 238 right at 48. All right, so there's some levels of resistance here that may push us down, guys. So just looking at this chart here, it shows me that there's a lot more resistance from the top than there is support from the bottom, which is why we may see some downwards action. And if you guys notice this, right, you see this imbalance here. Notice maybe a little hard to see, and let me move this thing over some. Just check this out, guys. See these two big light up levels? Look at what's in between them, right? Right here at the top, the imbalance. The same thing that we called out on the original price chart, right? So this is where the institutions play, guys. And if you kind of compare what you see on your charts to what you actually see in the order book, things start to reveal themselves to you that gives you confidence on where things may be going in the future. Okay, so any pushes up, they may get stopped out anywhere between 48 to 50. And then from there, you're looking for your support, your final level of support after that downwards move somewhere around 45, okay? Which is right at the tip or the fill tip of this imbalance area. All right, so hopefully this information has been helpful for you guys. Hopefully you guys are seeing some of these things that we're pointing out on these charts to you. If you have any questions, always feel free to drop them in the comments. We're going to continue to bring you this content so that you guys can stay aware of what's happening in this market, this crazy crypto market. All right, so it's your boy Maestro. Thanks for tuning in to the long and short. I think we're up out of here. Peace.